So one of the questions that I get asked quite often by students who are about to finish a program, welding program, and they're about to, venture out and try to find their first job, or maybe have a company already they're looking into. The main question that I get asked is like, man, what should I do? Should I go for that first opportunity that I get, or should I wait until I find something that's more in my lane, closer to home, more of a process that I'm more comfortable with, whether it's MIG, TIG, stick, welding. And something that we tell our students, man, is that I heard from another instructor, and I've always used it since, is, I can't remember the name of the instructor, it was years ago, but your weld becomes your signature. Once you hit the field and start working, your signature becomes, or is, your weld. And a lot of the foremans, a lot of the companies will remember you, but they're also going to remember your welds. And behind that, your work ethic, your timeliness, all that good stuff. So some of the students that we get, man, finish welding out a pipe, for example, stick on pipe, and hey, Mr. Nate Cortez, I welded out this 6G pipe, man. I'm ready to hit the pipeline. You got the heart, kid. You got the passion for it, but you're not ready for that yet. Coming out of a welding school, depending on what type of school you go to, you might learn stick welding, TIG welding, MIG welding. You know what process you feel more comfortable doing and working with. So I tell my students, man, stick with what you feel comfortable doing. You don't want to show up to a job site, a company, and tell them, I just finished school. I know how to MIG, TIG, stick. All right, man, let me see you on some TIG action real quick. Oh, man, what do I set my amperage to? What type of metal am I doing? Start asking questions that the foreman, the company expects for you to know already. So you definitely want to go into something that you're comfortable working with and don't have too many questions for. Most of the time, that first job, it's just to get your foot in the door, whether it's in welding or just about any job, career. That first job is another interview for yourself, to see if it's a company that you want to work for, if it's something you see yourself doing for a longer period of time, and if you're a good fit for both yourself and that company. You're trying to interview both at the same time. And if not, man, use that company, use that job to learn the good things about welding, the things that other welders have helped you along with. You better understand now. If you see other welders, if you're doing MIG process and you see other welders TIGging or stick welding, on your breaks, or anytime you have some downtime, hey man, what are you doing? Can I sit down and take a look? Can you guide me through it, coach me through it? Can you show me a few things? And when I first started out, I was fortunate and blessed, man, to be around those type of welders that they see me come in, they see a young kid, hungry, ready to work, ready to learn. And, they took me under their wings, man. And like I said, I was blessed for them to bring me on and say, hey, man, let me show you something. Or, hey, look, man, I know this other company that pays a lot better for what you're doing here. If you know how to do this and this and that, I got this other company that, I still keep in contact with that foreman or that individual, and I can get you in contact with them. The first job that I got as a welder, nobody wanted to hire me right out of high school, man. I remember leaving high school, taking some of my welding coupons, T-plates, and showing them, going to different companies. I drove around, looked for signs that said welders needed, and I pulled up, hey, look, man, these are some of my welds that I did in high school. And a lot of them, looked at me like, sorry, kid, we want somebody with experience already. So a lot of places, all the places that I first went to, man, shut me down. And they're like, no, man, we need somebody with a little bit of experience. And in my mind, like, well, crap, man. I mean, how do you expect me to get experience when I can't even get a shot? You know, at a job, even I offered to work for 2 weeks free, a day for free. If they see something in me that they can work with, you know, we'll talk about possibly hiring on. If they see something they don't like, then yeah, I mean, you know, just tell me, hey man, sorry, but it's not going to work out. Cool, man. Thanks for the opportunity. The very first job that I got, I had to go through a hiring agency because I just couldn't find somebody, man, that would give me that chance, that opportunity. So a hiring agency helped me out. They found me a job in North Houston, welding electrical posts that are now on the freeway streets, being the ones that are replacing the wood electrical posts. That was my first job through that hiring agency, and they hired me on. I think it was for $17 an hour as a MIG welder, and of course, the hiring agency was taking their cut, so I was only getting like $14 an hour. But at that time, man, that hourly rate did not matter to me. What mattered to me is getting that experience, networking, and what felt real good going into that first job. Like I mentioned earlier, seeing welders that seem a young welder coming up, trying to come up, and taking me under their wing and say, "Hey, pendejo, you know, come here, let me teach you something." So after that first job, I made some contacts, started networking, like I mentioned. And my second job after that, I actually got laid off after 3 months. They had layoffs, and me being one of the youngest guys, you know, fresh guys, they got rid of me pretty quick. But like I said, I was able to network, and I got my second job through that network. A welder just happened to know somebody in my hometown, closer to home, and he hit him up. Like, hey man, I got this guy that's, you know, has a real good work ethic, and I put my name behind him. And you know, if you give him a chance, man, he'll make you happy. You know what I mean? He'll work with you, things like that. So after that, man, it was onto that second job, third job, fourth job. I think I applied to maybe two jobs after that. All the other jobs were just networking and coming across a welder that knew a foreman, knew a different company, worked for a different company, still had contacts, and pretty much hooked me up, and you know, gave me that lead. All I had to do was show up, take the weld test, and get the job. So what I tell my students, man, is, you know your worth. You know what you can do. You know what you feel comfortable doing, process wise, welding wise. So once you find that out and you get an opportunity, especially if you have little to no experience, I tell my guys, man, take that first chance, take that step. You know, don't look at the hourly rates or anything like that from the get go. If you have little to no experience, and you know, get your foot in the door, start networking, talking to people, starting to know different companies, researching different companies, what other welders do, and venture out from there. For those students that already have a little bit of experience, feel more comfortable being a combination welder, whether it's MIG and stick or stick and TIG, um, and they know they can hang, you know, with those welders. There, I've seen some graduates right out of school, man, that are making in the mid 20s, mid 30s, right out of school. But like I said before, your signature becomes your weld. Your weld becomes your signature, and same thing that other welders have done for me. I called up some companies, fellow instructors called companies, like, hey man, I got a solid young man, woman here that's done with school. I put my name behind them. Can you give them a chance? And like I mentioned, once you guys get out there, man, it's on you. You got to start networking, talking, finding out what the business is about, and go from there. So take that chance, man. Take that first step. Know your worth, and show them what you're worth once you start working in whatever job. A quick story, man. I tell this story to my students all the time. In the beginning or towards the middle, I lied my butt off, man. In some applications, put year plus experience on certain jobs, and they're like, really, man, you're 18, 19 years old. How can you already have a year plus 2 years of experience? Um, and it was a company that I showed up to, and I just happened to be filling out the application. The front desk lady told me, no, we're not taking welders right now. And I said, well, can I at least fill out an application? She's like, sure. I started filling it out. The foreman walked in and asked her, hey, do you have any welders that can do aluminum, TIG welding aluminum? And, instead of looking through her application stash, she pointed at me and said, well, he's a welder and he's applying. And the foreman turned around and was like, can you weld aluminum, TIG aluminum? And I touched it maybe once, within a year time span. I knew how to TIG, carbon, a little bit of stainless, but I touched aluminum maybe once, man, and I messed it up. And I lied. I told them, yeah, I can do aluminum. I mean, after a few weeks of having no job and bills stacking up, you know, I told him I can do aluminum, man, and he gave me a test right then and there. It's like, all right, well, let's see if you got it, So he took me inside the shop, gave me the material. Luckily, there was another welder right next to me doing some aluminum TIG, and while the foreman was getting the material and things like that, I poked my head around and got to talking to him. Hey man, it's been a while since I touched aluminum TIG. I looked at his machine. I set it up the same way on my machine. I looked at the technique he was doing. I was like, oh, that looks similar, And I put my hood down. I was watching him weld. It was about the same concept, So I felt comfortable doing it. Now I did tell the foreman once he got up to me. He was like, all right, man, you ready? I ran a pass, and he was all like, oh, okay, you know what you're doing. And I was like, look, man, thank you for the opportunity, but I got to be honest with you. I've touched aluminum, a few times, but not for a whole job, man. I've touched it. I haven't really messed with it. And he was like, well, I mean, your welds say otherwise, And he had me weld a little bit more, some harder positions, verticals, and he's like, man, you got it. You got the job if you want it. And I told him, yeah, man, I accept it. Thank you so much. He's like, all right, man. Well, here's a mailbox, aluminum mailbox that a customer wants for us to weld it out. And he happened to tell me how much they were charging them. They were charging them $1,000 for that mailbox. And that was my first job on TIG aluminum that I lied my butt off to get in there. But with the little bit of experience that I had, man, it helped me out, and I took a chance, and luckily it worked out for me. So, at times, man, you got to do what you got to do, but you got to back it up. Your body language, your attitude, the way you speak to people, man, says a lot. And I remember the few foremen that I spoke with at first, man, the ones that didn't want to give me a chance. I was like, look, man, I'll work for you the rest of the day today. I'll sweep the floors, do something. I'll wipe down the toilets, wash the bathrooms, whatever you need me to do, man. Throw out the trash. I just wanted them to see me work, And even though I was hungry and ready to start working, man, like I said, all of them shut me down simply because I was right out of high school. I didn't know nobody. I didn't have no contacts. So it was just me getting out there, man. And after a while, I had to go to the hiring agency to help me out. And that's how I got started with my first job. After that, it was networking, word of mouth, talking to people, and writing my signature, man, with my welds, So it goes a long way. Don't forget to pass that same knowledge and experience once you get it, man, and you guys see new welders coming on. Take them under your wing, man, and show them what other people took the time to show you. Pass it down, man. Well, hopefully this video helped you guys out, man, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the channel. More videos to come in the near future, weekly videos. So appreciate the support. Let it shine, baby.